Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smalltalk, episode 70. This is the Smallville Retrospective Podcast. I'm one third of your co-host. My name is Ryan Cam. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We are just about entering the halfway point of season 9, and usually with Smalltalk, when we cover 3 episodes, it's like the pattern is like one really good one and two ones that are kind of there, or like we recently had three just straight mediocre ones, but then sometimes you get like three really good ones. This is the strangest pattern of all. An all-timer, straight outhouse, and back to an all-timer again. All that and more, we'll talk about it. But first up, got to introduce my co-hosts. First from 3D Movie Cinema, it's Jacob Collins. Jacob, how are you doing?
First off, I just want to say I disagree with your opinion, but yes, and go fuck yourself. And but other than that, yeah, I think I'm doing pretty good tonight. Yeah, it's been a great. We got a first look at Supergirl. We got a first production of starting on Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, so we're excited about that. We're all just discussing off camera about how the suit's going to look and everything, even though we haven't seen it yet. But we're just throwing ideas out, probably, and and I'm really happy about that.
And Matt Wyatt, in the words of Jack Harlow, what's poppin'?
Yeah, I'm excited to get into these episodes, especially the Kendor episode is my favorite of the three.
That's my favorite too.
It's the
Yeah,
best one.
the Candor episode, straight goosebumps, but we'll get into all of that. But before we go any further, leave a like, subscribe, do the thing. We appreciate it very much. I have so much fun doing this show every single week, and it just seems like season 9, and I said it was season 8, like it's looking like to be a favorite, and then it careened into the side of a mountain. So I don't want to say what I was going to say, but I'm enjoying season 9 very much. But
I
let's
mean,
get
it's like
into
eating a plate of shit, really, if you think about it.
Okay, sure, let's go with that. But let's get into it. This is season 9, episode 5, called Roulette.
Now that's the face of a guy who's down on his luck.
When is a game
What do you have to lose?
I'm all in.
not a game?
Someone's been using Oliver as a pawn.
What game puts people through hell?
When there are no rules. Smallville, an all-new episode on its new night, next Friday at 8, 7 Central.
A mysterious woman forces Oliver to play in a dangerous game of Russian roulette and then turns up dead. The police believe Oliver is responsible and arrest him, while Clark reluctantly sets out to prove Oliver's innocence. Meanwhile, Lois angrily confronts Clark over his knowledge about Oliver's suicide attempt. So this is an all-timer episode. I loved this thing so much. This is the best that Justin Hartley has ever been in this entire show up to this point, and I don't know what happens in the rest of this series. He could be better, but to me, this was peak. Like I said last week that I wasn't a huge fan of the drunk Oliver thing, but if this was the payoff, then I was happy to be wrong about the direction of that. And I know Collins is just chomping at the bit to tell me why I'm wrong, so go ahead and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Okay, well, first off, this is just David Fincher's The Game. Okay, this is just literally that,
I
but with a
like the
green
game.
heroine.
What's wrong with that?
I still gotta watch that movie.
I know. I
still
just don't
gotta
give a
see
shit about that movie. Like it's just all of Michael Douglas running around with a blonde woman going, "Oh my god, are you this? Yes. Oh my god, someone's trying to do this to me," and I'm just like, "Oh, who gives
Collins,
a fuck?" Like I
Collins
was
is
so bored.
Collins is full of shit. The game is actually
I'm not full of shit. I don't like that, but that's my least favorite David Fincher movie. And I'd rather watch Alien 3 over The Game.
okay. That's a bit far. Like Alien 3 is not as bad as I've heard some people say, but that's a bit far.
Like Alien 3 is Citizen Kane compared to The Game. Like that game,
Okay,
that movie, like
now you're just talking out of your ass.
Don't want you polluting this beautiful Sussex County air with your language.
I'm not. This is like this, but this I will say this is much better than Michael Douglas's The Game. I will say this, in my opinion, this is better. But I will say there are things in this episode I'm like, well, this like literally A, B, and C would have to happen for the like Chloe's plan to go right. Like literally, Oliver literally is chased by a dog thumps through glass window and is chasing after. First off, that dog, first off, luckily it didn't get cut up or nothing. And secondly, what if Oliver wouldn't have got in the car? What if Oliver went the other direction? Then all of Chloe's gonna be like, all right, shit, all right, turn the truck around, go after Oliver. You're at the you're gonna have to
Okay,
zombie
now
land him.
from what you're describing, it kind of feels like they're doing the punked episode. Action Kutcher being punked and shit, that kind of
I'm
thing. We're just sitting on the radio, like, okay, we gotta do
Chloe's
something else.
literally punking him the whole episode. That is literally what
That's like
Chloe's
the
doing.
game meets punked from the
It's literally
MTV.
like the game meets punked. I'm sitting there watching this going, A, B, and C would have to happen for D to like get for the execution. Okay, and I'm just like,
let's be fair on the logic with the glass breaking without getting cut. A lot of superheroes in action movies,
yes,
they always
that's true.
jump through fucking glass and they don't leave a scratch on them. They just have a band-aid on.
Also, what if she would have killed Oliver? Like, what if he gets hit by a car? By the way, he's in a and the truck hits him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm unscathed." I'm like, I have seen people. We've all been in car accidents. There's no way. So he's
You would
breaking
not
a
be getting
rib.
up. You'd be seriously injured or
There's
dead,
no way.
or you'd be
We live
dead.
in a universe where someone got hit by a bus in the last in like several episodes prior and became Metallo. So let's not like talk about
Yeah.
logic nowadays.
But yeah, I will say that I do like the opening of this episode where Oliver is basically, that great song is on. He's just sitting there like drinking his money away and everything. And I love when he throws his like motorcycle on the table, and then
Yeah,
the guy takes
he's throwing his car keys away for a gamble. Like he's draining his money dry.
I just loved that. I thought that was like, yes, it shows Oliver's drinking his sorrows away and wasting all of his inheritance away because he's like, I just want to die, basically,
Yeah, I did like I'm glad that this whole depressing alcoholic Oliver didn't last very long. That this whole thing about him coming back to who he was, that he's still the hero and that there's still a way to come back from it. I did like that aspect of it.
And that's
Did
why
we
I
really
love
need
this
two
episode.
episodes with Oliver? Two
Huh?
Oliver focused episodes? Did we really need that? Two Oliver focused episodes with
No, not really.
like I'm just saying we could have had one and I'd have been fine, but two?
No, I like the mini arc that they gave like Oliver Queen. If they're gonna have him in the show, I would much rather him like be doing something substantial rather than just like Green Arrow going hello and then leaving.
Like hi, leave, dude. He's a regular. They made him a regular for a reason. You got to give him something to do in the show.
B plot for the next episode is a much better plot. The Tess and Zod plot is much better than A plot, which is Oliver training the Red Arrow. Okay,
That's like a Speedy training Speedy.
I'm like, literally, I'm like, and then we got Clark as daytime.
Didn't they have two versions of Speedy in the comics? Correct me if I'm wrong. I know they had Roy Harper as the Speedy in Red Arrow later.
And then there's and then Thea Queen in the Arrow show.
Yeah, for the Arrow show, yeah, but I don't know if they did it in the comics.
I think Roy Harper is in the comics. It's Roy Harper, and
but I think this felt a little bit more Dark Knight Returns, when Karen Kate was the Robin character in the Dark Knight Returns. That almost felt very reminiscent to that part.
By the way, have you noticed? But yeah, we'll talk about that next episode.
We'll get there.
Okay. By the way, this episode though, I do like how. When it would have been, to me, it would have been cooler if it was Toyman doing this to Oliver. That would have made it much cooler to me. If this was Toyman doing it to Oliver.
But we already know that Toyman's going to be busy working with Tess. I don't think they were willing to repeat that same plot again, because then Tess would fucking murder his ass. Because she warned him in the last episode.
You complain about the logic of Chloe doing this, and yet he being the Toyman would have been doing this from prison. Unless you're like on death row in the Green Mile, like I don't see this happening.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't there what movie or TV show is that where there's like a villain that's orchestrating all this from prison? There's like a movie.
No, I think I know what you're talking about. The what?
The Blacklist with James Spader?
Yeah, the Blacklist. I think
it's something where there's a bad guy and he's orchestrating all of his crimes. No, The Following. It could be like The Following.
Oh, The Following, that show.
Okay, yeah. I forgot.
Yeah. I hear you.
It could be like that where they're like, but by the way, I love that show. By the way, if you guys never say show, it's like only 3 seasons. It's really good. And it ends, even though it got canceled, it ends on such a good note where you're like, you don't need a season 3.
Yeah.
It'd have been really hard to do a season 4. But I will say in The Following, it's basically where a guy who as a serial killer who's inspired by Edgar Allan Poe and goes on and then inspires a bunch of people to go on killing sprees, and they worship him, and they went to prison and seen him in prison, and he's in prison, while all of his followers are doing
Which
this, going
which
around
uh,
killing
which
people.
it's the lead actor is Kevin Bacon on a network show.
Yeah,
Who would have thought a movie star can end up on a television show? We never seen him on television
but
shows before.
I loved him, and that's a great show. The only thing I will say is I had an issue with season 3. I had a lot of issues
Yeah,
with season
the
3.
season 3 was my least
It was a
favorite. I was
really
like,
set.
I was hoping that they were able to pull it back from the next
I stopped
season
watching
because
after
I
the certain
love
thing
that
happened.
show. The show was so
Uh,
intense. It was like
but
so under
season
good.
The only thing is, I would have found out. The only thing I call BS on is when all these people go to see him in prison and they're on the phone, like talking to him I'm like, why won't you look at the cameras? He's literally talking to 80% of the people you're looking for. You're like, hey, how many followers does he have? Well, let's check the fucking surveillance camera. Oh, we got like a list of people. Hell, one of the guys in the police department, and he doesn't like, hey, that guy's that guy.
Are they even real cops? Or are they just fake cops that Chloe hired for the job?
Yeah. But by the way, yeah, I'm just saying on the Smallville. Wouldn't it make sense though? Wouldn't it? Would Yeah, like all these people, literally, like Chloe just paid these people to do all this shit.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the only thing that makes sense, unless you're having them on the payroll. That would just be a little bit too far fetched
I can
to pull
understand
that off.
hiring China White to do this. I understand hiring China White. By the way,
Yeah,
she's Green
is she a
Arrow.
D? Yeah, isn't she a DC character?
Yeah, she's a Green Arrow villain.
I figured that. I figured that she had to be a DC character.
By the way, we got 2 Green Arrow stories lines, like with literally in this season. We have China White, and then we got Speedy in the next episode. I think that's really cool that we got Arrow. It's almost like a backdoor Arrow pilot in a way, if you think about it.
Because we talked about this before, that they originally wanted Justin Hartley to reprise the role as a spinoff Smallville of
They
Green Arrow
literally, that
show.
was really the pitch, because they wanted to keep the superhero universe going. But what
Yeah.
happened was the guy who became the head of the CW, Mark
Mhm.
Presowitz, whatever. He hated Smallville because he didn't create it, and he felt like no one gives a shit about Superman as a teenager, and he thought that was a dumb concept. He thought it was very WB, and he wanted to create the CW, and that's why with Arrow he wanted it to be like that's why he wanted to that's why he hired Greg Berlanti to make it more like Batman Begins, and that was because their pitch was it's Batman Begins but with Green Arrow, and
Yeah.
that's why this show is.
Yeah, because since they couldn't put Batman on a television
He
show,
didn't
which
want
we
to.
know
He didn't want
not
to
in
have
a
no
million
connection to
years.
Smallville at all.
I believe we have our plans set for what we're going to be doing after Small Talk ends, but I'm just saying, Quiver Talk is sitting there collecting dust.
Quiver Talk.
The
That's
Arrow
just
show, like arrows in a quiver.
Yeah, airs a quiver. Yeah,
Okay, I was wondering.
not what you
Quiver.
think it is.
This is the second time that I've done Quiver Talk, and Collins has been like, "What? I don't know her."
I look. I'm not an arrow guy. Okay, I took archery in high school, and I was so shit at it. They literally were like, literally, I had a teacher embarrass me. A teacher on a spare lunchtime did archery with us, and he literally, my math teacher, and he insulted me at math class and told me I had a perfectly great arrows lined up in an archway. Collins's arrows were on the floor on the ground over there. Which is true.
If we ever decide to do an Arrow retrospective podcast, because then we're gonna have to start doing the Flash, and then we're doing the whole Arrowverse shit. That's gonna be a hell of a lot of like multitasking of other shows.
That'll be Tuesday content here on this channel for the next decade. If
We'll do like, hey, Tuesday for Arrow, or fucking Wednesday for Flash, and
then watch
Supergirl.
one of us runs for president and wins, and they're like in the White House. They're in the White House, like saying, "So let me tell you, okay."
Sharper for president, yo.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, so tell us about the healthcare reform. Right now, let's talk about the Flash on the Arrow crossover verse.
Tell Putin that I'll get back to him later. I need to finish talking about Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yes.
Priority.
CNN's good. CNN will roast the hell out of you saying, he said that right now we're on an economic depression, and he's talking about the Green Arrow and the Flash right now. He's talking the Green Arrow and the Flash on a YouTube channel. That's like, that's not too far off from our own reality, really. I mean, I'm just saying that's not really that far off. It's not really. I'm just saying.
If we're not there yet, we're getting there.
Did you see that one thing that they were talking about on Theo Vaughn's podcast? Like someone on from India, it was like the India New York Times, whatever, was like, he goes, that rather than Donald Trump talking about, he says, economic issues, they were talking about cocaine addiction. It's like watching. He's like, they're just like, he's got a picture of Theo Von like this. I thought that was hilarious.
And Theo was probably like, "No, I remember this one guy who we call who we call Snowman, and I never understood what Snowman was until like years later. I'm like, oh my God, like that just makes so much sense to me now. I love Theo Von, but I mean that
You see
seems like something
his chair broke at the inauguration. Did you see that his
I
chair
saw
it was
that.
at the inauguration, his chair broke and they found
Those
Logan Paul's lap. I
those
was
damn
like,
those damn Paul brothers were messing with him.
I was like, oh yeah, they roasted. You fell, bro. You fell. Oh, I caught it all, bro.
Have you been? I would have been like, hey, Logan, you been to any forests lately? But I digress.
But anyway, that's our political commentary for the
Back
week.
to the show.
But I will say, I think
Political
that
talk podcast. There you go. There's your
we do not
show.
endorse any candidate. We're just having fun.
Yes.
But anyway, I will say I do like. I will say there are some positives. I will say, even though I'm shitting on this episode, I do like Lois's line. Most guys wouldn't complain if I found myself shirtless, and then the look she gives herself afterwards, like that came out wrong.
I
Like
love their screen time together. They just
I
always
love
have
it
some
too.
funny moments. She's literally doing that birthday tradition with the whole Oliver birthday tradition where she just rents every shark movies known to man, including Jaws, even the most ardly
I love that
definitive
they're
shark
watching Jaws,
movie.
but they can't say it's Jaws. But even though
But
we
they
all
can't say
know
it,
it's Jaws,
but they know that we as fans who have watched the movie know the reference.
yeah. Also, I like Oliver's line where he
It's
says
kind of
he's looking
strange
for.
that she's like dropping into his home out of nowhere when she doesn't even live there and doing laundry and doing
Well, she
multitasking.
has keys. Remember?
That's true. Yeah, you're right. She does.
I I also like Oliver's line about, "Oh, I'm looking for the girl with the dragon tattoo," and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just like,
Oh shit. That's
Oh
right. They
yeah.
did say that. I forgot. They definitely
I'm
referenced it.
like, ho
Did
ho, you're
did you
so
spot
hilarious,
the ref
Oliver.
did you spot
Speaking
the
of,
reference from that GTA Vice City that Lois dropped on that
yeah, I
title?
saw that. Yeah.
Vice City. God, I remember back in those days on that
This
early
is and this
PlayStation when I
predates, by
played
the
Vice
way.
City.
This
What?
predates the Fincher remake. This was the
By
original, so I'm
two
sure they're
years.
basing it off of the.
Yeah, yeah.
By two
They're
years.
basing it off of the I guess I don't. When did this? They're basing it
Well,
off of the
I
Swedish
think that
movie,
the David Fincher one came out in like 2010, I
2011.
think.
2011.
2011.
2011.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. 2011. The remake
So they're
was like
basing this off
a
of
few
the
years
Swedish.
prior.
But do you
It,
think
I,
that's
the
just
Swedish
a random
one,
nod, a name drop, or do you think that's just like actual, like that was a nod to like the
I think that
Swedish?
was just a David Fincher nod because it came out in the latest time during season 9 of Smallville, and it probably already came out at the time for the David Fincher's version.
I'm trying to wonder when did the Swedish one come out right now?
Or maybe
2009.
I'm yeah,
2009.
2009 for season 9, I think. Yeah.
So they probably would have seen it probably and just referenced it and just.
Yeah.
But I mean, but I will say, I also like Lois figuring out Oliver was going to kill him. I thought that was really
Yeah,
impactful
because
for the
because
episode.
he kept it on his laptop because he replayed that over and over again that he was willing to give up his life. I feel like
I
there was
also like
nothing to come back from.
I also like Clark ruining Chloe's plan because the gases chamber was coming down to and to
But
gas
she had to
Oliver.
improvise because because Lois was never part of the plan, so she had to improvise.
Yeah, and also Zod's people been watching Clark this whole
Oh
time. I thought
yeah,
that
remember
was
that? Yeah, the assassin chick that was at that Oliver's party.
which
Yeah,
it kind of contradicts the next episode because the last episode you find they have no idea who Clark is. But I'm like, they've been watching him the whole time. I mean, like, so which is it?
no, they've been watching over like one of Tessa's like closest friends or like
Oliver. Okay,
Oliver's
okay.
because
Yeah,
remember
but they
they
were
both
watching
worked together at
Yeah,
Luther
Oliver.
Corps because they technically work together as a
Okay,
co-partners
yeah,
at
that
Luther
makes sense
Corps.
because I was thinking like it's
No, they still
contradicting.
don't know, but they know that there's the blur around, and right now the Kandorians and Zod think that that was Jarrell who is the blur.
I also like that Lois fighting the girl with the dragon tattoo. I thought that was
That
pretty
was
cool.
fun.
Uh,
Did you notice that that Clark name drop anti-life equation? If I need an anti-life equation, I guess I found it. That was a little bit of a reference from DC,
the
the
dark side,
anti-life,
yeah.
yeah, the dark side thing reference.
Also, I call BS that Clark would have been able to find Oliver. I just feel like that's just so random. Like they needed him to. He's like, "Well,
Didn't
I
he
just
just
heard you nearby,"
well,
and I'm just
yeah,
like,
well, he has super hearing and he
Yeah.
can hear danger, so that's no
but I'm like,
far-fetched.
he randomly found him. He's like, which I'm like, he didn't do enough research. I feel like that was just like, oh, I found something nearby and I heard you. I feel like that's just the most easiest way for him to be like, well, Clark was
I
just passing by.
I did like that part at the end when this whole thing was like over when he was about to save it with China White and she asks him like ask yourself who did you destroy and he just sees him that looks himself in the mirror that yeah I destroyed it myself. I like that whole scene in that episode. I thought that was really
I
good.
do like them standing on the roof at the end. They like the all the
Oh
end.
yeah, when he's finally back and he just pokes fun of his outfit. It's like, hey, I have a little tailor can add a little color.
It's like we've covered just about everything. So we
Trying to
before
think.
we descend from the penthouse to the outhouse, let's go to ratings. Collins 1 to 10.
6 out of 10.
All right, Matt, what about you?
I liked it. It's not a bad episode. I think that was like the better episode than the last one. So I'm giving it a 7.
I'm going 9.5. Like when that
You
reveal.
really enjoyed it
You're
this
on fucking
much.
crack, Ryan. You're on
Yeah,
fucking crack.
I
You liked
love
it
this
that much.
episode. I
Hey,
did.
hey,
Like
hey.
when
Ryan's like this. Ryan's like, oh yeah, this is so great. It's oh god, it's
you know what? I'll
amazing.
own it. Yeah, sure, why not? Because at the end, when Oliver sees himself in that mirror and he's like, "Okay, I need to wise up now." Like that whole moment, that was great. I love that
Yeah,
so
because since Lois and Clark and Tess could not help him come back from it, like Chloe had to take far extreme measures to help him get his head out of the cloud.
yeah, but now we must take the plunge head first, like Joker falling into the acid. This is season 9, episode 6, called Crossfire.
Do you know what
Oh,
this episode reminded me of? The Oliver side
That should
reminded me
be
of.
the intro of the show. Crossfire.
Do you know what the episode of the Oliver part reminded me of?
What?
what?
You're gonna think I'm just like insane for telling you this, okay? Medea goes to jail.
Mm.
Hang on,
I
let
still
me
have not seen it, but I
That's
kind
the
of get
one
the
where the
idea.
lawyer takes in the prostitute and tries to make her a better lawyer, a better
Oh,
person, a better
I mean, I
person.
haven't seen it, so I wouldn't know.
well
I
let me
just remember thinking that the whole time watching it. This is Medea goes to jail.
Or it kind of feels a little bit more Pretty Woman, except that he's not in love with her. He just wants to take her in and be a mentor.
I
well
mean
let's
that too. I'm sure more likely it's that the Medea goes to jail.
Because
But
he's
I
because
thought,
she's an ass because Speedy. Well, we
what
I
year
can't
did Medea goes to jail come out?
because this character Speedy is an escort and she does underground cage fight club.
I need to say the plot now.
There are moments that define a legend. Then there are moments that are legendary. Smallville, an all-new episode on its new night, next Friday at 8, 7 Central.
Oliver tries to help a young street girl, Mia, aka Speedy, get out of her dangerous life by offering to train her, but Mia double-crosses him. Lois asks Clark to help her land a job as an on-air television host, but the two are shocked when the station wants to hire them as a team. So yeah, this thing was just it was just terrible. It was a big old chore to sit through. Like someone like saw this audition tape with Lois and Clark doing this Good Morning Metropolis thing and like, yeah, let's hire them. Like, what? How did that makes no sense to me. And then like Clark's going on this date, like
The blind date.
that
I
they're
thought it was fun. I don't care. I enjoy that moment. It's so ridiculous, but I'm a sucker for that for their little Lois and Clark time, the whole dating, how they rip on each other. I like that. That's just me.
I thought that was fun too. I will say the one thing I did like, I will say I love this whole episode. I thought, the only thing I didn't like was the whole bullshit of Oliver of not of what's his name, Clark and Lois on the Today Show. It's kind of like they're trying to do like Regis and Kelly, but with Clark and
That
Lois.
almost yeah, the opening felt like an audition tape for Regis and Kelly.
Which,
I'm
by the
like
way,
when this was going on, I was just sitting there like Jimmy Crackcorn, I hate this segment. Jimmy Crackcorn, I hate this segment. Like someone
again,
get to the intro, please.
A
Like,
plot should have been Tess and Zod,
hmm,
and then B plot should have been Oliver and the Street Kid, and then C
yeah.
plot shouldn't even exist. Clark should have just been like, "Hey, I'm gonna go do chores at the farm this week," and then he shows up at the last minute to that should have been what happened this week.
It
'Cause,
just seems to me
literally,
that they wanted to find something something Clark to do because they really don't have to do that much in that episode, so they had to make it more of an
Tom
Oliver
Welland's like, "Tom, we
centric.
really don't got much for you to do this week." And he's like, "Well, I can
Yeah,
just not
let's
be in the
do a
episode."
blind
Nope,
date.
you got to be in the
I mean, it's a
episode.
ridiculous, but I kind of enjoyed moments between Lois and Clark doing this whole blind date thing, even though it was so stupid. I don't know why. I thought it was funny.
I will tell you right now, the best part of this episode is it's the whole Test and Zod part. I love
Oh,
how
that was
Tess is
so
given the
good.
tower and Zod just shows up like
Yeah,
that.
the
She's
solar
kind of,
tower.
shocked. Says, "Congratulations, Tess." She goes on, and I'm just like, "Oh, I was like, Mister." She's
Congratulations
like,
to us.
"Gone."
Like
Which,
I
by the way,
love
I did not know this.
I love Callum Blue, like already. Like he just has like a gravitas, I guess, that I just
He's trying to play off a little bit more of the Terrence Stamp version of Zod from the Richard Donner.
we're certainly going
What?
to get to more reasons why he is slowly becoming my favorite part of this season when we talk about the Candor episode.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait.
I
But
will say I'm really glad. Did you notice that this is a famous Zod Non appears in this episode? Non.
Yeah, I've
He's
noticed.
literally the bald guy, and I did not know that for years. I didn't know that the bald guy was Non. I'm
Yeah,
like, I googled it because I was like, this is Non, because I'm like, no, Non doesn't appear in this series. And I googled Non. It's just a picture of the secret. It says he was killed by Tess, and I'm like, but the ironic thing is there's a continuity error because it says that same actor does appear as a unnamed Kryptonian later in the episode. But he says Non. He does appear as Non in the episode where Zod tells him to kill Tess and or torture Tess, and I'm like, he's Non. He doesn't even look nothing like Non. You know, at least in the Man of Steel, Non is just a giant. He wears a mask over.
he's just
The
a giant
phone.
grunt. He's a mindless giant grunt. So is the other one from fucking Superman 2.
I mean,
He's just
remember
he's like the more
at
the like what are you supposed to look like?
instead
least
here
in Man
he's
of
just
Steel, Non is like with is Non is with.
You don't
Remember in
show his face.
Superman?
He's under his helmet. He's under his
Yeah, he's
helmet the
wearing
whole
the
time.
helmet. I remember in the
I
Flash
mean,
how
you do
Non
see him without
Batman
the helmet for a short time in the opening prologue in Man of
Man
Steel.
of Steel, yeah. But remember Batman puts a bomb attached to him, like Michael Keaton's
Oh yeah, in
Batman,
the Flash movie,
and
that was
Non,
fucking.
and then Non just
And he
passes
just
out.
and he yeah, but he just fucking
Uh,
threw his ass across the fucking thing, and that would definitely kill him right there. And he did,
yeah,
and it did kill
but
him
that was
apparently.
actually I will say that was I like that
But that
moment.
was
I
the
don't
more
like the Flash,
realistic
but I
part
like
about
that.
in the Flash movie that I will give them credit where credit where it's
Yeah,
due, because if he had walked away like it was nothing when he got tossed around by a Kryptonian with that amount of strength, he
I
would
will
not be
say yeah,
walking around.
that's true. But even I don't like the movie. I thought that was a really cool moment.
But he
I
didn't
will
die from
say
that
that
bond, but he didn't die by
yeah,
getting blown up by Batman because the two Flashes, both had to finish him up with
yeah,
the
I know, he just
lightning at
knocked him
once.
out. He was just knocked out like.
He was just knocked the hell out of him.
Which I will say, this one I thought Non was just like I could like Non was like he tells Non, he says, don't let her leave. And he said torch. He said make sure. He says get it, find out about where the other Kryptonian is by any means. And he goes yes, Major. And he
Yes,
shows
Major.
up
Yeah, yes, Major.
and like which I like that. I like that he was like that. And
But
then
it's
all of a
kind of
sudden
odd
later,
that the Kandorians and Zod was able to figure out modern day technology when they haven't. This is their first time being on Earth, and they still were able to adapt and learn very quickly.
he looks at a wine glass. Zod looks at a
I
wine
know it's a
glass
big
as
nitpick. I know it's a nitpick.
like Zod looks at a wine glass and goes, "Ah, this is so fascinating." Like he's so fascinated by the wine glass.
I
He's
was
just like,
like have you like I don't even know if they even been to Earth before because in the opening of the other episode that we will get into, their blood was taken from the moment they were in the Battle of Kendor. That's the only last time they had memories, except for Zod. Like, it didn't happen until later, so
well,
it's
Jarrell
kind of which
too.
I find it
No,
very far fetched that they, like I said before, that they were able to figure out and adapt new in this new modern day technology, and they were able to get away with it without any trace. That just to me it was a little far fetched for me.
I will say I do like the fact that Zod like he's kind of impressed with Tess because he thinks like because Tess was a little upset that he thinks of her like a rat,
Yeah.
like a little rat, like he's a cat and she's the mouse, and so basically he comes impressed. He goes, okay, you're not just a mouse. He was impressed kind of that like
He
he
was
was
impressed
like
by the moment he sees Nam's dog tag and the
he
blood
was
on it.
just he was like he's kind of impressed, but
But
he's like real good for
but
that.
can you imagine in this season if it wasn't Tess and Lex and Michael Rosemont's Lex Luthor was a part of it? Lex Luthor would have done something quite differently.
I
If he was
mean,
able to work with Zod on this,
it
because
probably would have been
he's
okay.
way more intelligent than what Tess is now. Sure, she was able to learn how to survive like Lex did, but Lex would do things a little bit different if they were to work together.
I do like that Zod's line, no human will ever stand on equal footing with a Kandorian. I love that line.
Because Lex Luthor would fuck a lot of those Kandorians up because he's smart and he's always one step ahead of them.
Yeah. What'd you think about that, though, what Zod's saying about him telling Tess, no human will ever stand on the same footing as a Kandorian? Like, like basically he looks beneath like humans. He's like, there's Kandorians and then there's humans down here. I love that line when
Because he believes
has
that
that.
Kryptonians are superiority.
Yeah, I'm like, I think, it kind of makes you sense. Like, look, I was sitting there thinking about this. It doesn't, Ryan, kind of make sense that he said that Jor-El was. Do you think Jor-El was in the right not to give them powers? Like that he would strip them of their powers because, like, you kind of see the way Zod, even though he's not like purely like the way he is that Clark has met before. But don't you think this would be a really terrible if Zod did have those powers now?
Yeah, I think so, and I think in the context of this show, this Zod is a little bit different. And
Yeah,
we'll
he is a
talk.
little bit. Yeah, he is a little bit different,
But he
but
has those
the
evil urges, so you could tell they're
he does
building
have
up.
his true nature. You can't deny, even though he still has some very complex and some goodness, but he still has his own personal
He's
agenda.
kind of like Magneto in the X-Men First Class universe
No,
movies.
no, no.
I would say that, like, where he has like those evil urges, but he wants to be. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's
But
like
he's
a
all
good
about
guy.
saving his own race. That's all he's all about, saving his own people.
I will.
And he realized that he underestimated the humans. Like you like you may just because you're Kryptonian and you maybe have a different DNA than us, but we're still the same, more of the same than you think.
I will say that I really also, besides Zod and Tess, I did like that Oliver was training the street kid to be the Red Arrow. I thought that was pretty cool and everything. And the mix up, where like she's like comes out of the shower and Lois thinks that they're hooking that him and that
Oh
girl are
yeah, that
hooking
was
up.
funny.
And
Wasn't
also,
that funny
Oliver,
when he was giving his little like snotty remarks about Clark being on a blind date, which that was so fucking I thought it was so funny the way he
I liked
delivered
when
that dialogue.
Well,
I
that
liked when
makes
Oliver
no
was ruining.
sense. It makes no sense why they do this because consider the ending where it's like the two kiss. I'm just like, nothing in like this entire episode's indicated that it's been leading to this. Like, did I miss something?
By the way, I just thought
They always have been leading to this, like from the beginning of the season.
I just thought that was funny that Oliver ruined her date. Like she goes, "Where's my blind date?" Oh, I paid him to go find his 15 minutes of fame somewhere else. Like he
Yeah.
said. And I'm like, you would
He
think the
hijacked the blind
producers would
date.
cut that off. The producers would be like, cut it, or something. You would have a producer standing right there, and and I just think I call BS. I'm like, where the fuck's the producer at? Like they're Clark's clearly not the producer on this talk show, and so I'm just sitting here watching like Clark's just like, yeah. He's just there watching like he's just cucking or something. Instead, and then like, and I'm just sitting there like, and Oliver's just sitting there like, oh, I love you and I miss you and everything. I'm like, I do agree with Ryan. Like, what the fuck? Like, where did this come from? It's like literally like it's like the writers of this episode were like, okay, I paid attention to the Zod part, the test part, but I was not aware of the Lois and Clark aspect of this. So I'm just gonna. I wrote for season 6, so I'm just gonna go back to what I know in season 6 and just write Oliver still has feelings for Lois there, and you're just like that doesn't work though because Oliver doesn't see Lois in that way anymore. Oliver, well, we need some kind of love interest. Well, she has Clark. Well, that's too early.
Well, they didn't do the love. They didn't drag out the love triangle. They just simply, hey, we gotta move past this
At
shit.
least they didn't do the love triangle. I would have been
Yeah,
so.
they did not
Ryan,
get to. They didn't. He didn't try to play off the jealousy. He's like, hey, he's understand now. I mean, you got to remember that the first love that you have, you don't always get over so quickly. It's not easy to get over. It's
would you
still
have
going to
been
be there
jealous?
regardless.
Ryan, would you have been mad if like there was a love triangle between Oliver, Lois, and Clark?
I would be pissed if they did that. That would have
Yeah,
upset me.
I would not have been a fan.
I was like, no, we're
Ryan would
not
be like,
doing
here
like.
we fucking go. The
Just,
show
I think
cannot get
that was
love
intentional. I think that
triangle.
was intentional because they like, hey, you think you're gonna get the love triangle? Nope, you're not. We're
I
gonna
like
fuck
that
with the
the
fans.
showrunner noticed that they did their homework. Probably be like, no one likes our love triangles.
No,
We've
but they
tried
don't
it
like
for
it. Like,
8 seasons.
let's take the L and move on.
I mean, honestly, they could have did something even stupider and brought Lana back for this
Oh
episode.
god, that would have been worse. Like, come on already, for Christ, for fuck's sake.
I guess
It's like Drake. It's like
I guess the
drinking
point we're
poison
trying to
from
get at is that this episode was bad, but it could have been way worse.
Yeah, it could have been
I,
worse.
look, I like the Zod and Oliver aspect's great. I'm not gonna lie. If you would have just took the Clark aspect out, it would actually be a pretty decent episode. And
Yeah.
honestly, I will say this though: the woman going on a date with Clark is like 40, and Clark's like 30, and I'm like, this woman looks like she's like a mom of 3 kids.
Well,
Okay?
technically, we already know that Tom Welling, when they were making it, he was already in his 30s at the time. But in this one, he's in like in his mid 20s. So yeah,
This woman looks like she's like 45. I'm like, come on.
yeah, she does. She looks like a cougar,
I'm like, she's a cougar. I'm like, come on. Like, you couldn't find
which
someone
Lois
younger.
literally made fun of him. Like, you'll attract cougars.
I'm just like, come on. I mean, look, she looks like, I'm waiting for her like 12-year-old son to be like, hey mom, like I'm ready to go. She goes,
She looked like the
just,
Kelly from the Kelly and Regis Philbin show.
I mean, really. Also the Red Arrow's pimp is the same dude who assaulted Lana in season 2. The one who goes,
Oh
the one,
yeah,
the one
I
where
cannot believe I forgot. The
Clark
same
takes
actor
Dr.
who was a
Run and
fucking
share.
college douchebag that harassed
Wears
Lana.
a harness neck, and he goes, "Yeah, if I see you anywhere, I'm gonna sue your ass until
I'm
the,
gonna
the
sue
sheriff will
your
be
ass.
the
I
sheriff will be all
remember
over
that.
your
I re
ass."
I
I mean,
remember
which
that.
one did you like better? Did you like the college douchebag from season 2, or do you like the pimp, the guy who was playing the pimp?
The
Did you
pimp
like
better
this?
because the
Yeah, the
college
pimp was a little
douchebag is
bit
just
better.
too
It's not
overly.
overacted like he did in those other seasons from
Or if you're
season
like
2.
me and this all makes sense, you're just like, "Oh, the college douchebag became a pimp." It kind
That
of
would be
checks if you
ironic.
think
That would be
about it.
so funny
It
that the
kind of
college
checks.
douchebag ended up being a pimp.
It kind of checks if you think about it.
I mean, it does check out.
He disrespected women so much that he went into a prostitution business to be a pimp.
It's like Will Ferrell from the other guys. Like, yeah, he's a pimp without even
He's
realizing he's a
Gator. He's
pimp.
essentially Gator.
He's a
He's
gator.
like,
Gator don't play no shit.
Gator's bitches better be wearing Jimmy's.
Oh, the
He's
other
gonna have
guy.
poison.
Things you
He's
do.
gonna end up with poison ivy up his ass, and that's where he's gonna meet Eva Mendes. I still don't understand how the hell that happened. How the hell do you have poison ivy up your ass? Like, what was he doing? Took a shit in the woods and wiped his ass up full of flower grass or something.
I
I'm just
mean,
like,
It was a made up fucking rom com. Like you got email. Like he didn't have up his like poison ivy up his
oh
ass.
yeah, the
Yep,
Tom
and then
Hanks thing is like, oh, you got mail or sleepless in
you got
Seattle. He goes, Tom
mail.
Hanks. He didn't have poison ivy up his ass.
You didn't have poison ivy up his ass.
Far
all
more,
right,
he's like shot.
I was like, what the fuck are they talking about?
let
Why
us
was
You must
that
be
poison?
watching a different movie.
let us diverge away from where this conversation is going and go to rankings. Collins 1 to 10.
Oh no, no, no. Before we go, can I say one thing? I just also why also besides that, why wouldn't the street kid alert Oliver, and also he could take care because he could have take care of that. He could have taken care of the thugs, and also the thing that this is what made me laugh, and I forgot, because this made me almost I fell to my knees laughing. Tess does the Spider-Man 3 move where the bus drives by and Tess disappears.
Yeah, that one.
And
Yeah,
that's
that's the
like,
one.
so I was looking like,
But
and
do you
then I'm
know?
like, just imagine she just goes, she's hiding behind
No,
the car and just like,
she did this whole scary movie where the killer just runs away and tries to play this whole super speed shit. Yeah,
Mhm.
and the one thing that really bugged me, like this Speedy kid is a fighter. She beats guys twice her size. She couldn't take on the pimp herself. She couldn't even fight him.
that to me, it's like you're
Like,
a street
what?
fighter and you can't take a pimp down. I'm just saying, come
Like the
on.
pimp is just a douchebag who has guns and that has a bunch of thugs. That's about it. And you couldn't take them on. Like, are you kidding
Also,
me?
Oliver just takes the bullets too. Like he doesn't even try to fight the pimp. He just cuts and he's like,
Dude, they ran up the stairs while he has a machine gun 2 feet away from them, and he's a bad fucking shot. He went all stormtrooper on their ass.
I'm gonna say also, but yeah, I mean, it just made me laugh. I just want to talk about how stupid that was. But I love it when movies do that, where it's just like the bus drive by and they disappear.
No, it passed one and they disappeared out of thin air.
Spider-Man 3 has the best one. Spider-Man 3 still is.
No,
Sam
like
Raimi
Sam
knows
Raimi,
it, too.
like Sam Raimi was like, "Hold my beer."
And then he has even a guy turn around once the bus passes by. He even has a guy turn around where it's like, it almost makes you think Harry Osborn's sitting right there in the corner going, "You say a fucking word, I'll fucking kill you."
Did he hide under the fucking table or something?
Yeah, he's like where'd he go? Did he hide right there? It's
Like, where the fuck did he go? How did he leave so fast?
I still to this day believe that Harry's just sitting right there in that corner, and that
He
guy
probably
just
was. Wouldn't that have been
where
funny
he
just to
it
watch
was like
behind
this,
the
where he goes
scenes?
like this. He goes, he winks, and then the bus goes, "Okay, shit. You say a fucking word,
Can you
I'll
just
kill you, bro."
imagine him actually running off the fucking table, seeing from a different angle?
That guy literally like, "What the hell? Say a fucking word, I'll kill you, bro.
You say a fucking word, I'll kill your fucking family.
I'm the Green Goblin." It's like, I'm like, just that made me laugh so hard. I still to this day laugh because everybody and their mom who's reviewed Spider-Man 3 on Bash has said the one that makes the absolute no sense is where did
Makes
Harry
no
go?
logical sense. Like, can you imagine?
It's
Like, they should just make a video showing you a different angle where what Harry was doing when he
did he
disappeared
crawl
out
his
of thin
knees to
air.
the bathroom? Is he crawling on his knees to the bathroom? You're like,
Yeah,
or did he run? There's no way he could have ran outside. That door would have just slammed shut. I just thought that's
it's
still
a
just so
typical
funny.
like TV movie bullshit.
I mean, to be fair, in season 6, Lana was able to do the car swipe wherever like a card she jumps in
Yeah.
to a car passing by. I mean, that made more sense than literally a bus passing by and you going a
Right,
fast bus,
right.
by the way, and you
But it
disappearing.
always made sense when at the finale of season 3 where Clark disappears because he has super speed. That makes more logical sense.
Yes, I just thought that was so funny. That made me laugh. So I laugh now. Ever since Spider-Man 3 ruined that for me, where every time I see a bus pass by,
It's always a meme. There's always that's made to be a meme. Spider-Man 3 was literally the definition of a meme.
I just laughed. But yeah, but I mean, I love Spider-Man 3. There's a lot of good stuff in that movie, but I will say there are some funny moments in that movie, and that's one of them.
Yeah, because we could sit there and laugh about some of the dumb shit they put in that movie.
I mean, that's nothing worse than emo Spider, where he's just like this going.
Now
Well,
people look back on it as Bully Maguire.
well, when we
I mean, he became a meme. He invented the meme. I will
he
still
invented
say
that shit.
he
Well,
invented
I was
it.
watching it in the theater when I first watched Spider-Man 3. I was like, what is happening right now? This feels a little bit off.
I was just so amazed.
when we all watch Spider-Man 3 with Kyle from Flet's Pop Culture 13, we'll have.
Oh, we'll burn that bridge when we get there.
But
We're
let's
all
go
just
to
gonna be like this, going like this. Yeah, woo! Oh.
Kyle's going to be the only one who likes it, but Colin's 1 to 10.
I like it, but I got a Spider-Man 3 frame poster on my wall.
Good for you, rating.
But I will say I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10.
All right, Matt.
I'm gonna say that's my least favorite of the 3, so I'm gonna give it a 6.
I'm going to go 3. I did not care for this.
You
thing.
hated this much.
You could suck a dick. How about that, asshole? I'm sorry. That just made me like hostile. I got really hostile. Like, wow.
You got
I'm
hostile.
I'm like the tree standing by the waterfront. You shall not move me. As a matter of fact, that is going to be the end of that, and we shall now move on.
You shut up, Hoss.
We shall now move on to, well, we're back to the penthouse again, and easily the best of the 3. It is season 9, episode 7, called Candor.
We cannot doom another planet's future to preserve our past.
This traitor will lead us to the one that will give us our powers.
My father, he's here on Earth.
If you want to save your son, you're gonna have to make a sacrifice.
Where is my father?
Smallville, an all-new episode on its new night, next Friday at 8/7 Central.
Jor-El mysteriously arrives at the Kent farm and has aged tremendously well, might I add, but we'll get to that, to hide the Book of Rao, but meets Chloe instead. She tells him that his son Kal-El is on Earth and lives at the farm. Convinced the blur is Jor-El, Zod enlists Tess's help in finding him to force him to reveal the secret of his powers. Clark realizes Jor-El is alive and on Earth and races to find him before Zod does. So we've got a actual physical Jor-El in this one, and he's played by Julian Sands, which, Collins, please tell the story, because you would tell it way better than I could.
Julian Sands is a fantastic actor. He played in Rose Red, Arachnophobia, Warlock, and he's a really good actor. He was a he played young Drell in the Smallville series. He went hiking like 2 years ago. He went hiking, and he was the actor that went hiking, and he went missing, and they never found his body. And then they did find some bones, and they said they believe that was his. And so they said they think he went hiking and went in the California Valley. And then he went missing, and they think he just died of dehydration or he fell or something. And he passed away, though he is dead. He passed away. And so they found his brother was like looking for him. They said, look, he's probably dead by now, but like, if I would just like to have his bones brought home. And they did eventually find some bones. They believe it's his, but they said they still to this day are not 100% they found his body, but they know he is gone. Like he said, there was no way he could have survived. I mean, unless he just pulled like a vanishing act, which is highly unlikely. But they said the actor had no reason to disappear. But yeah, they said that so the actor unfortunately went hiking and passed away because which you know what I always say, bring a cell phone if you're going to go hiking. Bring a cell phone, bring water and food. That's the biggest thing. If you ever go hiking, which he is, I just want to say, if you're ever going to do that, make sure you do that. Okay. Make sure if you're ever going to go hiking, especially in a desert, make sure you have water, food, and some like in a cell phone to make sure you can contact somebody just in case. And if you also would help if you have a road flare with you. That way, if somebody if you get lost, you can shoot up a flare and then they'll see it because a flare usually means a sign for help. But I will say, I would like to say, can we at least have one nod to Julian Sands because R.I.P. man, R.I.P. for Julian because
Dude, I
he's
didn't even
just
know. I didn't know that story. I didn't even know he was dead. I had no idea.
yeah he died 2 years ago. This is 2 years ago. It's all
Jeez,
over the news
I
after
literally
Julian
did not
Sands.
know. I might have seen it. I probably forgot all about that. But
Rest
yeah,
in
but
Well,
but the Julian Stans
good dude,
casting in
man.
Jarrell was perfect. He
Yeah,
definitely
rest
fit the role perfectly well. I mean, I always assumed if they were going to show Jarrell, I thought it was going to be Terrence Stamp. I mean, I know they're going to show the younger of Jarrell, but I always suspected they were going to have Terrence Stamp in the flesh because he is the voice of Jarrell.
Terrence Stamp's too old. That's why
I
they
know,
like
yeah, I know. He's too old. I
it would
mean,
have
I
made no
get
sense. You have
that.
an age
Yeah.
someone that's older, like you have young Zod, old,
Yeah, I
like
know that
an
old
8-year-old
dude,
Terrence
but it would
Stamp.
have cool that the passing of the torch, the two actors who portrayed Zod, that would have been an interesting choice. I mean, yeah, no, they're going for the younger, then they had to get a young actor, and makes logic sense.
Which it's funny in season 6, the young Zod or Zod was a CGI version of Terrence Stamp from Superman
Yeah,
2.
the older Zod, the General Zod. So yeah, they definitely CGI'd of the resemblance of design of Terrence Stamp from the Donner Superman.
Which they said the reason why they said Zod doesn't have a beard in the new showrunners, Kelly Sanders
Yeah,
and Brian Patterson, because they said Zod, evil Zod has this
the
is
goatee. He has a
Major Zod.
goatee.
General Zod has the beard, the goatee. They said this Zod doesn't have the goatee because he's not that character yet.
Yeah, because
Just
they
like
wanted to like make the clear to the viewers that this is not the Zod you know. He's still a Major Zod. He's not a general, and he's not the evil dictator yet that you know him.
that's why he's clean shaved because his sins are not yet
and
Yeah,
fulfilled.
he's still a lieutenant, lest we forget. But I loved the opening of this so much. It might be my favorite
Krypton.
opening to any episode of this whole show. Seeing, I want to say, the Battle of Kandor,
yep. It's the
but
Battle of
Yeah.
Kendor
seeing that and then
because
that
they're in
bit.
the middle of a civil war. They're in the middle of a civil war, but we still don't even know who are they fighting against. Probably just some
Black Zero. They
terrorist,
said
some group
Black
of terror.
Zero. They said Black
Black
Zero.
Zero? Was it Black Zero?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And seeing that whole city of Kendor getting nuked. Holy shit, that was insane.
And then
I was so impressed.
Dude, this episode, well, the flashback of the opening they could have made a show that revolved around Jarrell and Zod, doing that first X-Men First Class style. I would have watched that show.
I
Doing
must
that science fiction.
I must ask though, why is the Krypton High Council like situated like the one dude who sends the Power Rangers out on their missions from that show?
Well, they're doing
Superman
the floating head of the council and Krypton in the Richard Donner Superman. They're trying to do a lot of they're taking
Remember
influence from the Donner
Superman
version.
1 where
Especially
everything was
those
Zod?
ring, those
Yeah,
two
yeah,
rings that are
yeah.
floated around Jarrell. That's the same thing when you're
Yeah.
being judged by the council to what you're going to do with them, either trial by death or being exiled to the Phantom Zone.
Which, by the way, I
how
love
it-
how in Superman the movie where it's like,
Guilty.
How is
Yeah.
that an effective like way to keep a prisoner like locked in there? If I were them, I'd just be like 1, 2, 3,
Like jump rope
4.
out.
I'm
Just
out.
jump rope it up.
Well, they
It
got
could
a
it could have
guard.
been force
Well,
it
they
could have been
usually have
force
a guard
field.
to
I
watch
think
it
that
over
I think the rings are just invisible force field. That's my guess.
I guess they could have done a better job showing that. Could have been like,
But
like
that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to make it a little bit more similar to the Donner version of Superman. So yeah,
he's
Which,
I'm
by
totally
the
fine
way,
with that.
they just used that. They really just dubbed over. It's the same exact footage from the Donner movie, only dubbed over.
Yeah,
Like there's a man that they put a
I thought it
woman's
was a
voice.
new footage. I could have sworn that it had been a new,
It's
different.
literally the same people. Like that's the same guy. That's like
It had to be
I
the same
looked up-
people, the same actors, because
It's just the
because
only
even
difference
the
is one of them
dialogue,
nods their head. And I'm
yeah,
just like,
even
what?
with the whole dialogue, it felt very old school footage.
And it's just like it feels like this. They're just like, okay, we're just ripping off we're just stealing footage from the Donner film.
They're just taking stock footage from unused footage from the Donner Superman.
Which, by the way, it didn't remind you that they just took outfits from Terminator Salvation and then just rebranded it.
They could have.
It
I
just
wouldn't
looks
be
like Christian
surprised.
Bale's John Connor outfit for Zod, and I'm just like, it just looks like they took Christian Bale's John Connor outfit and repurposed it.
Well,
to
they
make
got to
it
have
look-
they got to have a soldier outfit somehow. They just got to
They're like-
have that.
I liked how Zod I love
how he
where
defends
Kendor blows-
Jor-El because he treats him more like a brother, and I love that there's more compelling context between the two of them about their history, and it's so rich. Because do you
I am in
remember
your
back in
debt,
the day
son.
when Man of Steel came out, they were talking about doing a prequel movie with Jor-El and Zod's storyline. They were planning on doing it until that didn't happen.
I would have loved to have seen that, and like
I
the
would
And
have
then
seen that
everybody thought,
movie with
and
Michael
everybody
Shannon
thought the
and
Sci-Fi
fucking
Channel
Russell
show
Crowe.
Krypton was going to
Yeah,
be
they
that.
did. Yeah, they wanted to do. They were originally were going to make this part of the continuity, but then they didn't. They made it more of an Elseworld story.
I like Krypton. I actually think
I
Krypton
love that
season.
show. I was a little on the fence, and when I watched the first episode, I was hooked. I tried to get my brothers into it, but they were like, "Well, Superman's not in it, so I don't give a shit
The
about the show."
actor they play as Zod, I honestly think he did even a better job.
Oh
Like
yeah, because he was an Arrow. He was an Arrow show, and he played
he's also,
Zod, and I thought that was perfect casting choice of that character. He
even though
definitely
people
nailed
were
it.
kind of like, how is Zod black?
I was like,
And I'm
what kind of a
like,
stupid question is that?
that's what
Like,
some people were like asking, like, how is Zod
like
black?
you do
He
know
was-
that this is a Elseworld
If
story.
it's a prequel.
It's a prequel, but it's also a reboot.
That's what people were wondering, like, how is but that people didn't know at the time because you saw the
Here's
press.
saying they're doing an Elseworld story, and they're trying to do that whole prequel, but it's sort of like more like time because it adds more of the time travel because they add this one guy. What's the character's name that went back into the past to warn his great
Adam
grandfather?
Savage.
Adam Savage, yeah, that's his name. Yeah, he's the guy who lived in the present day where they had Superman and Brainiac was about to alter history. I thought that was a great, compelling story
Yeah.
because then you
Well-
have more creative freedom to do what you want with it and also explore the Kryptonian religion and the lore of Krypton because we never really get a chance to explore that aspect of it. We only know
No,
from the
and
knowledge from the fortress.
I want to point out, I wasn't trying to be like a Geeks and Gamers moment or nothing. I wasn't trying to be like, why is this Superman Zod have to be black or something? No.
Yeah, I hate that question. Like,
I was
what?
trying to say like why. I was like, if like because when you watch it, you're like, this is you would think because the way it was marketed was this was a prequel to Man of Steel.
yes.
That's what it was originally going to be.
And then
a
when you
prequel
see
to Man of
Zod,
Steel.
you're like, wait a minute, how is that Michael Shannon's relatives? like
It
how
was
is
a
that
little
Michael
confusing. Did you notice
And
that
then when you see
actress?
the big
But did
picture,
you
you're
notice
like,
the
okay,
actress?
this is an Elseworld story.
Yeah.
That's
But did
changed.
you?
It's kind of like
But one
Terminator
thing.
Salvation.
But one thing you didn't. Did you notice that the actress who was one of the families of the descendants of
Was
Zod?
in Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she was in Wonder Woman. She was an Amazonian. Like that was
Yeah.
pretty cool, and she was actually really good in that show.
And guess what? Do you know who's also in the Krypton show? The Green Lantern, John
Yep,
Stewart.
Aaron Pierre.
Aaron
Aaron
Pierre.
Pierre, who's playing John Stewart's Green Lantern.
played
was also
Devon.
that was my first time watching him as an actor. I remembered him on a Krypton show. And I was
Devon,
when they said that he was in talks to be cast as Green Lantern, I was like, yeah, this is John
Who's
Stewart.
Devon?
He definitely nail the John Stewart character. He will definitely.
I will
crush
say,
it.
coming back to this show, I do like that Drell was coming to the Kent Farm because it's a nod to season 2 of Smallville.
It actually was not to season 3 of the flashback sequence of the whole
season 3, yeah.
memories. Yeah, because he
I
knew
thought
that
was
the
pretty
purpose.
cool.
Yeah, because it shows you that it really did happen. It was not just one of Jarrell's tricks or tests or anything. That was just what really happened. Because his purpose to come to Earth was a rite of passage of what his father set him out to do, to explore Earth and about the planet. And then he got too
Also-
attached to the woman that he used to love and that died in front of him. And I thought that it was a great callback to what they did in season 3.
I will say Zod. I like the Zod and Drell's friendship and how he saves Drell. He says, "I owe you. I'm in debt to you, Zod," and he guys never forget that.
He risked it. He almost risked it because he was being sentenced to death by the council for interfering their
No,
plans.
he was sent to the Phantom Zone. Like they were going to send him to.
No, they were going to kill him. No, he was being sent. He had a death sentence.
Well,
They were going to
they were
kill
gonna
him.
They literally said the punishment for treason is
Is
death.
death. The
I thought they were
punishment for
sent to the
treason is
Phantom
death.
Zone.
No, it was death. It was definitely death. And Zod had to
Okay,
interfere.
so for Zod commits treason. Oh, we're going to send you to the Phantom Zone. Drell commits treason. We're going to kill you.
I think that because that Jor-El was part of the council and he had to defend him, even though he became an evil dictator, but he still treats him more like a brother. So I don't think he would want him to dead. I think he wants him to be in prison. I mean, they know that, and also they already knew that he already knew that Krypton was getting destroyed. Because the reason why Zod wanted to take over Krypton because the council were not listening to them, that you are ruining our planet and it's about to be destroyed, and they would not listen to him. And that's why he had to rebel against the council of Krypton.
I do like that, the Drell and Zod, you see their relationship crumble because he says he won't make him his son. He said that
because he tried to. He tried to because his son and his wife were died in the explosion of the destruction of Kendor, and he begged Jor-El to bring his son back as a cloning process, and he refused. And that's the moment he took his DNA. That's when he fucking hates Jor-El. He may have loved him, but right now he was like, now you're my enemy. because you refused to bring my son back.
He said, you killed my family. Now I
That
kill
scene
you.
was so good. That scene was so good between the two of them. I
Like with
loved
his
it.
eyes, the way his eyes were looking at him, like he
That
goes,
performance, like
when he
you
goes like
believe
this,
his
he
own
looks at
eyes.
him like, you are more dead to me than my son. Like, like that to
Because
me
this
just
was
showed.
because this was before Jarella even had a kid of his own, so he wouldn't know how that feels. Like, hey, if you had a son yourself and you want to bring them back, you would have done the same thing, but you wouldn't know because you don't have a son of your own.
And
Yeah,
then
and then
and then we get Clark and Jor-El, and they're like one moment in this entire show where Jor-El dies in Clark's arms. I'm like,
I love that.
this is
That's
on
awesome.
this.
I teared up. I
I
fucking
hated
teared.
that it was only 10
Great.
seconds. The only time
I wish
the
they would
whole
have given us
episode
a
he speaks.
little bit more time
I
with
would
him
say
and
3 episodes
Jarell.
would have been fine with Jarrell. 3 episodes.
Yeah, that would have been good, but I felt like that was cheap. Even though I got emotional, but it was still cheap that they did it so quickly.
The one
But I
thing,
love, but I one thing I sorry if I'm cutting you off, Ryan. I wanted to say one more thing before I forget. The scene when he was being locked in the cellar with Tess, because Tess opened the orb because she thought that Kryptonians would save the human race and they would be like Clark. But he told them that no, Kryptonians are not meant to have all these god powers because they are here to rule. They want to be conquerors. They're not like Clark. Clark grew up with the humans and taught by love. They were
Zod's a
taught to
soldier.
be they were taught to be soldiers on Krypton, and we were an abomination. Where there's light, there's darkness. The book of the religion of the biblical of the Rao. I love how he was explaining the test that not everybody's going to be like Clark.
one thing that I was going to say is that, when it comes to the CW being used as like a derogatory term, I want to just show them just like this one scene in a vacuum or with context or whatever the case. I want to show them this scene and like the it's a CW show debate. Just that debate needs to fucking cease. Like after like watching that because that was just epic, and I will not hear any derogatoriness towards it.
Yeah,
Derogatoriness.
I
That's
always
all.
hate that. I always hate that. Even when we see
When
even when
people shit on
people
the Arrowverse too, just like I'm like, look, there are great shows in the Arrowverse.
like
Look,
the
Arrow
earlier seasons were
season
great.
1 through 3 are great.
I
Season look 1 through 3 of the Flash are great.
I thought
Season,
that three was really good, but not as good as the first two. I
I
will
will agree with
say,
that.
I will say that the first two seasons with Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, Flash were one of the best
They
peak
were nine
shows
out
on
of
the
10. They were
superhero
10
shows.
out of 10 shows.
They were 10 out of 10. Period.
The
But
season 3 is
the
when they start
downside
taking a
is
turn.
the downside is when we get into the later seasons, they kept milking it. They kept milking it in, milking it in. But the crossovers were the only strength that carried the fucking franchise forward, especially when we got into Crisis on Earth X, which is the best crossover they have ever done. But then the crossovers got worse when they did Elseworlds. Then it got even more worse with Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's when I tapped out of the Arrowverse because
Crisis on
now that
Infinite Earths was just cameos. That's all
it
it
was
was.
just cameo fest. There was no
There was no
story.
story.
It was a cheap cameo fest, and there's no real fucking story. You had a great opportunity to tell a compelling story. I'm all for bringing back the legacy characters from other universes for this whole multiverse saga. That you could have done a great job with a compelling story, especially when you brought back Brandon Routh as Superman, the Kingdom Come. You had a great opportunity to use him well, and then by the time we get towards the second to the last crossover, you completely threw him to the side. Are you fucking serious? And then you kind of ruined the Clark Kent character from Smallville, which I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
Me in the future enter in the you lost the Price is Right horn, the do 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 do
I
do.
will say
Oh yeah,
Crisis
here's
still
the
the
price
best
is wrong,
episode.
bitch.
The best the best storyline from the Arrowverse is the Crisis on Earth X, where like you have evil Green Arrow and the
The
evil
Nazis. You
like
had the Nazis
those
versions.
were great. Those were great
They told a
episodes.
story. They focus on storytelling.
Or as Elon Musk likes to call them, oh, those poor people.
Oh, oh dear God.
Jesus.
I thought we were done. I
I
thought
knew you. I fucking knew you were gonna bring that up.
I just
That
like
was
I
only a
saw it
matter.
right there. I'm like I got.
I saw
Elon
that
Musk.
coming from a mile away. It was just a matter of when.
Why did this Earth's error have to beat the other Earth's error? The other Earth's error was just misunderstood.
Oh my God.
I'm afraid of where this conversation is going to go, so I'm just going to end it here. Collins, 1 to 10.
But I will say, what I like about this also is I like how when Clark grabs Tess by the neck because he's just he wants to have like that relationship with his father because he has no father figure and he sees that hope. And I like how Chloe tells him like about Zod's betrayal on Krypton and all this stuff, and he tells Zod, And Zod he believes it to where Zod accepts it, where he's like, well, he says, you betrayed me first. So who really betrayed? I'm like, Zod just accepts, like, yeah, I probably did destroy Krypton, but you know what? I understood. I understand. So it has to be done. And I'm like, he accepts that. I'm like,
Yeah.
you would think he would try to like change. He accepts it. I'm like, if somebody told me, hey, you destroy this world, and then I go,
Yeah,
well,
he told him.
shit
Yeah, he
happened.
told him what's going to happen after. He told him what will
Accepts
happen, what he was going to, what he already done, what his other original Zod done on Krypton, that he became an evil dictator and he destroyed Krypton to prove a point. And that's the scene was so good because now he's starting to understand what it's like to have a son, and now he will do anything to protect him. And Zod put two and two together.
And
Now
he's
he's
worried that
realizing
Zod will
that
kill
he was not
Clark.
the one. It's his son. It's like, you told me that we've had children years later. Oh
And
my
he's
God,
worried.
and now we know how they lost their powers when they came out of the orb. He used the blue kryptonite because he could not trust the Kandorians to have these powers because they were going to come to Earth to rule, to conquer the world. It not be like because mostly Kryptonians are conquerors essentially. Jor-El was just a military scientist and an explorer, so their answers before him. But now years later, they became more soldiers throughout years later on Krypton.
Some thousand
I
IQ
will
stuff
say I
on
do
Clark
like how
Kent.
he says he can save Zod. How he dies in Clark's arms, says you can save him.
Well, no, he's like, hey, save Zod in his last dying
Saves Zod.
breath. And you're
And
always
Clark,
wondering who killed him.
yeah,
I want to ask Ryan, what do you think killed him?
I don't know.
Because they did it off screen. They never showed who did it.
Well, I'm not going to speculate because I want to be surprised. One thing that
I know that's fair.
I will say the one thing I didn't like was everybody interacts with Clark, Jor-El, but except for Clark, who only gets 10 seconds with him. And I'm like, that kind of made me like,
That
but I
guy,
understand
it
why.
just ripped it away from him from having any chances to have a father and son relationship, even with his own real birth father in the flesh, and not some voice of the Arctic.
Yeah. Also, Clark's line, I can't believe my father's been on Earth this whole time and Jor-El didn't tell me. I thought that line was terrible because I'm like, you realize if you think about that line, how see that's like in Legends of Tomorrow, where he
Yeah,
says,
he
I
kind
can't
of
wait, I'm gonna kick my own ass. You know? That's literally a line in Legends of Tomorrow where Damien Dark is like, I am going to where his self kidnaps his own daughter and he goes, I'm gonna kick my own ass. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like,
Stellar
but
stuff
I'm saying
from
that,
the writers of Legend.
but that was so dark that Clark was willing to like strangle the crap out of Tess, saying, "Where the fuck is my father, you asshole?"
That took me by surprise because I like Tess.
It almost seems like because in season 9 he's exploring his darker self in season 9 for Clark. That's what it felt like to me in this show.
Also, you know, this does kind of mess with continuity of season 8 of Smallville, though. The whole Zod having a wife and child, because remember in season 8, Faora,
they couldn't bear to have child. They couldn't have children. I think no.
Yes.
I think because in this, I will like. Let me defend this. To be fair, he had a wife before he married Fiora. Fiora could not have children, so they both could not have children of their own because he's with someone else. He had a kid with his wife prior to Fiora.
Later, but
I don't think it would mess continuity. No, later in the season, I can't fucking reveal it. We'll burn that bridge when we get to that episode. Let's not jump too much ahead.
Matt, I'm gonna let you. Since you know what, I'm gonna retract that because I will say this though. It's possible that Zod.
I mean, same thing with Martha.
Faora
Remember, Martha Kent could not have children. She could not have children.
But yeah, I will say I did really love this episode. I thought it felt like a love letter to the Donner film. And I really liked Jor-El's outfit too. I kept just staring at
the Jor-El's outfit wearing that whole
outfit.
like the white cloak thing. Oh, that was so good. The
and
costume
his
designs are
Zod's
great.
outfit is very comic book accurate. I'm kind of glad it wasn't just Terrence Stamps. I'm glad he didn't just dress like Terrence Stamps with a.
But I'm kind of glad that he didn't try to impersonate Terrence Stamp. He still took the character.
Kneel before Zod.
Kneel before Zod.
I'm glad he didn't dress like Genie from Aladdin, or something. Like how remember in Superman 2, Zod is dressed like is wearing a black robe that looks like Genie from Aladdin, where he's just like walking around.
It looked like a ninja outfit. It kind of looked like a fucking ninja outfit, and fucking people on Krypton are wearing aluminum foil fucking drenched dress.
Don't you mean Jafar?
He's kind of dressed like Jafar in a way. It just
like Jafar.
Kneel before Zod. I'm like glad he doesn't dress like that. I'm kind of glad. I'm like,
He's dressing in the military outfit because he is a military
yes, I'm glad
soldier.
it's
Kneel,
dressed like that. I'm
kneel
glad that
before
he's trying.
Zod, but
But I
kneel
feel, but I
before
feel like back
Zod.
in the Donner days that they wanted to make them feel more alienish because they're aliens from another planet, and dressing up in a military clothes just wouldn't make any sense because that's some earthly thing. And if that makes any sense.
Kneel
Instead, they
before
dress like they're
Zod.
genies from
Now I
Aladdin.
must deal with
But
Prince
the outfit, but the outfits with comparing with Man of Steel, what they did on Krypton was absolutely a banger design and original
Oh,
and unique
yeah.
of how they did that. It was so good.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, yes, Zod's armor is CGI, but it looks so good, and you wouldn't be able to tell a difference. But some of the actors, like Fiora, who played the actress who played Fiora, that was a practical suit that she was wearing in the movie.
Yeah,
Michael
absolutely.
Shannon is too much of a little bitch to wear his suit. He's like CGI it. I can't move my
That's
neck.
You
I
will
can't move my
C-
neck.
you will CGI my suit, and I will like it.
And
But
they're like, oh, okay.
yeah,
Shannon's being a little bitch again.
this
By the
episode
way, did you hear the story about Michael Shannon on Batman when him on the set of Batman versus Superman? How he got locked in the bathroom and Zack Snyder was not happy about it. He said he was on the set because he's supposed to. He did the motion capture work for Doomsday,
Oh, he
and
did.
so
I didn't know he did the
yeah,
mocap.
yeah, and so he said like and he got in trouble because he weren't supposed to say that.
Dude,
And so he said I had these little
this was his
dots on
second
my
time
hand.
wearing fucking pajamas. And that
He
because
said I
you
had these
see
little.
you see it on set that he was wearing pajamas, and the rest of the fucking characters who are Kryptonian's followers are wearing practical suits, armor, and he just looks like a bitch when you watching him on set, and you couldn't keep a straight face. But then when
The
you saw the
funniest thing
effects later, it
is
looks better in effect
the
during
really
post.
funny part is he said he got because he said he had because Doomsday had the monster had this, so he said I had this. I put the costume on. He got in trouble. Then he tried to deflect, say, "Oh, I wasn't on set." And then finally, people are like, "Well, you were on set because my Zack Snyder said you were." And then because he got in trouble because he wasn't because he's an actor that is not used to being secret doing secret projects. So
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh yeah," he said, "I was on set, okay." And he goes, I had these little lobster things on my hands. And so, for like the monster. And so, of course, I go and I get locked in the bathroom and I'm like, help, I can't get out of the stall. And so Zack Snyder's like, where the fuck is Shannon? And so everybody's like, help, I'm stuck in the bathroom. I can't get out.
it smells in here.
like, I'm like, well, maybe usually you walk with somebody to the bathroom so that way they don't shit all over themselves or they can get out of their suit. I'm sure Henry Cavill, when he went to the bathroom, or even David Cornsweet in the new one, I'm sure that they have a man who unzips you from behind so you can go to the bathroom. I'm sure, which
Dude,
I've
Henry
even heard.
Cavill's suit takes a long time to put on
Or
that Superman outfit. It took them hours to get that shit off and on.
or they must do the thing that has challenged every male for the past 10,000 years. Hold it.
Make sure you have a zipper on your butt side and your in front of your dick.
I gotta go.
I think they do have a fucking zipper on their butt on their side of their butt just so they can take a shit in the stall.
Oh, by the way, Jennifer Lawrence said that when she was shooting the X-Men movie,
Yeah.
she had that she would have
She
to have a
wore the
team go with
bodysuit
her.
in Days of Future Past and
Yeah, she
Apocalypse.
said if she had to go to the
Because she had
bathroom,
she had a fucking ration and that she couldn't use painting anymore. But when she did in first class, because she had an allergic reaction or something, and that's why
yeah,
she wanted to be put into a bodysuit in the next movies.
yeah, and she said it was a nightmare in the second one because she said in the second one, if you had to go to the bathroom, you'd have like two people to go with you, and then they would have to just turn around while you go potty, and you're just like, I feel like a child. They're like literally just hearing me go to the bathroom right now. They're just sitting there like Secret Servicemen, and they're just waiting for, yeah, are you done? Yeah, I'm
Yeah, and
done.
when you're
Okay.
sitting in the toilet and getting
I,
up, you're seeing blue paint stains all over it.
I couldn't handle it. I would be just like doing it and they'd be like, success? And I go, shut up.
I would feel so uncomfortable being in the same bathroom with someone's like, I cannot peeing in the stall. That's one thing, but doing the number two, I'm
You're
sorry.
going number two, and then
Like,
they're sitting there they know you're going because they're just sitting there, and your doors you can't even shut the door because the costume.
I would feel so uncomfortable doing that. I cannot take a shit in front of someone. I can't. I just can't.
At least give my
Especially
mans a magazine or something.
like, hey, you guys can go take a 5. I'll just knock on the door or something, or you guys can go over here, so I'm fine.
Like, wait outside.
And they're like, well, we got to for continuity. Imagine Jim Carrey when he was shooting the Grinch, he had Rick Baker had to sit there and watch. Rick Baker's like, Jim, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, he said, do you need me to do you need this guy to wipe your ass for you? Like, no, I don't want to wipe my ass for
No.
you.
Hell
He
no.
says, he says, look, he goes, it's okay, Mr. Carey. We've done this before. We just literally
Like
shot like a Hellboy and we wiped Ron Perlman's ass. He
it's like
said, it's
this
okay.
it's like this scene in the movie The Rundown with The Rock and Sean William Scott where Sean William Scott has to pee but his hands are tied behind his back and so The Rock has to like unzip him. And there's a moment where he's like, "Would you mind?" And The Rock's like, "No, hell no." It-
I mean, I imagine it's like that a lot where it's like, I would
It's probably
honestly,
like that on set when you're wearing costumes and fucking bodysuits.
at least in this show, they literally was just like, hey, I'm wearing jeans. Even in the red, blue blur outfit, it's like Tom Welling just like, hey, I can unzip my pants and go to the bathroom.
Well, yeah,
Just
because
take off your
he
trench
has
coat.
jeans. He's wearing a trench coat from the Matrix, so yeah, so
I
he
mean,
has no
really, I mean,
problem.
it's really not that bad compared to like, you're in a Batman, like Robert Pattinson probably would be a nightmare because like
Or Spider-Man outfit. They even Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield explained of how they're putting their suit on and how difficult it is
oh, Tobey
that they have to.
Maguire literally admitted was that he pissed in his own suit once because he said he had to go to the bathroom so bad, and he said it was awful. He said it was
doing
awful. They were mad too. They said they were
doing
angry
doing
because
the
he said he
astronaut
pissed in his
gimmick.
suit.
Just when you
Like
think
they
it's
were
so easy
angry.
to put on a superhero outfit in the movie,
He's
it
like, I had
seems
to
so
go.
fucking it seems so easy, but then on set and behind the scenes it's all bullshit. It takes forever to put on and off and how to go to the bathroom. You better not be drinking a lot of fluids or don't have any meals in you if you had to take a dump.
All right.
That's what he says. Oh, that's what Christian Bale said. He tells every actor that plays Batman since he played Batman and Batman Begins. He said, tells any actor, make sure you get a zipper for your suit. That is
He
the
said that
key.
he said that to Ben Affleck too when he got cast as
Make
Batman. It's
sure
like
because you
make
have
sure
to
you
get a
piss in that
zipper.
suit.
Not all heroes wear
They will get.
capes except for Bale. But anyway, Candor, let's go to ratings. Collins, one
I'm
to
gonna give this a 9 out of 10.
Okay, Matt,
I'm giving it a 10. I fucking love this episode. The
get
probably
ready.
my favorite. It's probably my favorite episode of the season.
Get ready to let Collins know he's number one, Matt, because I'm going 10 with you as well. I love this thing. National Bird, there you go. I love this episode so much. It has like all the highs, all the lows. I love this season so much, and I know I'm probably
I'll go
whistling
10
past
as
the
well,
grave
man. I
here.
like 10. I mean, this is a very good
He
episode.
retract that. He totally retract this.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I mean, I was like, I just like dropped the first thing 9 out of 10. I'm like, yeah. Sometimes I don't have to think about my rating unless I'm like really angry about my rating. But yeah, it's like,
Yeah, but this
it's like
season, yeah, this is a far better season than season 8. It's not so much all over the place. Sure, there's
We're
gonna be a
we say
couple
that now
episodes,
and then watch next week. We might
and
get three shitty episodes.
we might get at least
well,
one or two shit episodes.
I know one
I'll tell
episode is
you.
terrible. One episode is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now what we have coming up next week. We have Idol, Pandora, and Disciple.
Yeah, there's one episode that's terrible. It's fucking terrible next week. You're gonna be like, oh god.
Well,
You might even think two of these episodes. I know Pandora you're gonna love.
No, Pandora. Oh god damn. I think
You're
Pandora
gonna love
and
Pandora.
Oh, you
You
will
might hate
love
Idol. You might either hate Idol or Disciple.
yeah, you will hate Idol. Idol is the weakest,
Idol.
I
You
will
will
admit.
hate. Yes.
Disciple is actually pretty good. Not
Okay,
as good as
you'll
Pandora,
hate.
but Pandora is the best.
well, that'll be next week. As far as this week goes, what did you think of these three episodes? Let us know in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. It is a privilege to do this wacky show with these two every single week. Collins, what have you got coming up?
We have Talking Sounds. By the time this airs, Small Talk, we have by the time this airs, I will have dropped my review for the Wolfman movie because we all saw the Wolfman this weekend. Did we like it or not? Oh, spoiler alert, we did not. But also, I got Batman Terry tomorrow night. By the time this airs, it'll have been tomorrow night. Batman Forever. So thank you all for tuning in. And by the way, Batman Forever, Batman Terry, and of course, yeah, and then we have Talking Silence coming up. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah.
All right, Matt Wyatt, what have you got coming up?
Yeah, I recently put up my YouTube review of Wolfman, and I'm as what was Colin said that I'm going to be joining these three knuckleheads here for Batman commentary for Batman Forever. So really excited to get into that.
Well, their links will be in the description. Go give them a subscribe. As far as this channel goes, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be near the end of January, and so with that in mind, I had a plan of what I was going to do. However, with the recent death of David Lynch, I'm going to be doing a slight pivot. And so, with some exceptions, including Dune, Straight Story, and Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me, which I have already reviewed, I'm going to be covering every David Lynch film I've yet to cover. So, in honor of his late memory. So, everything from Eraserhead up to Inland Empire, those are the ones that I have not covered. So that'll be
Eraserhead's so good.
that's what I've heard, and I'm looking forward to it. But
I'm not gonna
that
lie, I've never seen any of the David Lynch movies. I've never seen any of them.
I've seen Mulholland Drive, Eraserhead, and I have seen Blue Velvet.
Dune.
And I've never seen Dune all the way.
Oh, geez.
I saw a preview of Dune, and I'll always say it didn't look that good.
It's not that good. I mean, that's
Yeah,
kind of
I
boring.
own the movie on digital. I still haven't watched the fucking movie because I have
do
Denis
too.
Vil-
I just never
I
watched
already
it.
have Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 1 and 2 were peak. That are
It's
already
got-
peak,
it's
so
got
I don't
its
give a shit.
problems.
It's kind
I
of like
like-
the Baskin and remember how Peter Jackson is if Dune is Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, then the David Lynch is Dune is like the Rankin and Bass Lord of the Rings.
It's like a Walmart version of Dune. It kind of
Yeah.
looked like it could have been on the sci-fi shitty 80s sci-fi channel.
The Sci-Fi
Okay,
Channel did do a Dune.
let's not go quite that far. The movie's still great. I mean, David Lynch had the foresight to cast Sting, the musician Sting, in a thong. Who else was doing
Sting
that?
is also in Zoolander 2, by the way. I just want to point that out.
that that doesn't surprise me. But
He's
David
literally
Lynch,
in Zoolander 2, and he makes a really raunchy joke.
but
I
David
love
Lynch,
his cameo in the Steven Spielberg's The Fablemans. I love that cameo. That was my
where's
my
the
favorite.
horizon?
Where's the goddamn horizon? Now get the fuck out of my office.
The Lynch project is forthcoming, so stay
Don't we
tuned.
still have that other project we're going to be doing in February? The first, the
Well,
Road
that'll
to.
be more gradual. We're going to be talking about even more Superman stuff, but that's going to be more gradual. The Lynch project was something that last minute pivot because of the man's recent passing. So, but we've been planning this Superman thing for quite a while, but that's going to be starting up in February as well. But thank you all so much for watching. For Jacob Collins, for Matt Wyatt, my name is Ryan Cam. For Truth, for Justice, for the American Way, always hold on to Smallville. Collins, hit it.
Sharpton for president, y'all. We're out.
Jesse Jackson for VP.